conscientious welders and a work ethic.
What's going on, guys? It's Isaac with Long's Fab and Repair here in Chickasha, Oklahoma. Welcome to the channel. For anybody that's coming back, appreciate you coming back. Last week I kind of did a really big video. It's my first real long format video. But this week I'm doing some tidying up in the shop. I've had some computer troubles, so I had to have another computer built to be able to run Fusion 360. I didn't have enough RAM in my laptop, and you know how that's going these days. So my Lenovo laptop had a soldered RAM in it, and I couldn't upgrade it. So I got a gaming computer built for it. I'll upload a picture of it right here. And that's going to allow me to do a lot more of my designing for my CNC. So while I am still getting all that figured out, I don't have any orders this week in the shop, so I am taking advantage of doing some organization. Last week in my video, you could tell that I was having to unplug and replug my plasma cutter in for my CNC, and I have two plasmas. They're both the same. They're Yes Welder 55 NHFs. I run one on the CNC, and then I run one on my cart. I was having to basically, anytime I wanted to do any cuts on my plasma on the table, I had to unplug whatever I was doing in my 50 amp outlet, plug in my plasma table, get it all set up, ready to go, and then I could do my cuts. Well, with that being said, I've got 100 amps of power, so I can't run everything at one time. But I am adding in just a small little drop out of my breaker box. It sits right next to my plasma table, and my CNC or my plasma table is right over top of my plasma cutter. And so I'm going to just give it a designated drop, and I'll show you guys with a picture here basically what it looks like at the moment. And I'm having to plug it into my extension cord that I've got for my welder. So this is going to allow me to just leave that table plugged in. Eventually I'm going to have a computer in here that's designated just for the shop. I still won't do all my designing and stuff on it, but it'll just be strictly for cutting. That's all it'll be. I'm probably just going to buy a used desktop computer from one of the school districts around here in Oklahoma, and I'll just set it up here in the shop, blow it out with the air compressor, and that way it doesn't get too dirty. But anyways, yeah, I'm just in the middle of getting this all put together. I am not an electrician, so anything that you see me doing, you got to do it at your own risk. I know enough to get myself in trouble, put it that way. I wired this whole shop myself, ran the power to the pole, hooked it up to the pole. I did all of that myself. I'm big on DIY, being that I'm retired at a young age. I don't have the funds to really do the things that I want to do, so I just kind of make it happen a little bit at a time. But with that said, I'm going to finish up this plug, and then we'll get tore into the box, and I'll show you guys what I got going in my box. We'll get this added in on a breaker. I'm adding another 50 amp just for it. But like I said, I won't be able to run both at the same time. But it's okay. This is one step closer to the end goal, which is having a bigger shop. So one day I'll have a bigger shop, but I'm going to work with what I got right now. So we'll get this finished up, and then we'll get added to the box. All right, so I got that all wired up. You got your ground. This is where the ground plug goes into, and then your positive and your negative. But being that it's a 240, it's just going to be two hot legs. So there's no negative in this circuit. I got this part off of Amazon, and I got my breaker and stuff at the local Lowe's. Sadly, my Lowe's did not have this outlet, so I had to order it. They had a bunch of dryer plugs and stuff, but they didn't have this exact outlet for me to be able to do this. All right. So there we go. That'll be the part coming out of my box. Simple as that. So I'm going to get this wire stripped now. I'm guessing I'm probably going to have to strip it down to about right here, maybe even down to here, but that's okay. because I'm going to need everything I can get inside the box. So I'm going to start out with that much, and then we'll go from there. Doing long form content. I'm used to doing the TikTok stuff, but it seems like every video that I upload of my smudge pots, they like to mark them as unsafe. So gotta deal with what I got, and trying to do YouTube. So I'll take you guys over there and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Uh, my plasma cutter, it just sits here right next to my table. My outlet or my breaker box is right there. So I'm just going to add that pigtail in to drop down. That way I can kind of roll this cord up, plug it in, and just leave it. And don't really have to do anything after that. No unplugging and plugging back in. So let me get this all ready, and I'll do some fast forwarding. So now I'm going to get a knockout out that I'm going to use. All right, so now I got my breaker. We're going to flip it to the off position. It's already there. I'm going to strip these wires, get them ran through the box, and then we'll make our connection. So now, take my two legs, my hot and my other hot that would normally be a neutral. Get these added into my breaker. Got one leg. And of course, my other one wants to be stubborn. All right, there's my two legs. That'll get popped into the breaker box after I make my ground. I'm going to make my ground in the box, and then we'll be good to go. Now that I know that my breaker's off, my breakers go in and then they lock down. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go in, and then we're going to lock down. Just like that. So now that's in the box. Now what I can do is take and knock out those two knocks, label that as my plasma cutter, and we're good to go. Back together. I'm going to label this plasma or CNC. So now I've got CNC Plasma written in the box. Now stand to the side, click it on. We're good there. Then I'm going to close my panel, And we're going to plug in this plasma. And we got power. So now I'm getting an error because I ain't got no air going to it. But now it just stays plugged in right here at my table. Nothing to worry about. My next little project is probably going to be putting up some welding cloth or drop cloths for welding. That way I can cover up all this electrical stuff and kind of give this area more of like a fire barrier. But yeah, we're good to go there. So tomorrow I'm going to come back out and finish this video. It's getting kind of late and I want to spend some time with my wife. But I've got this parts rack that I'm going to be putting up, and that is going to be taking the place of all of my organizer bins for the stuff that I use like every day. Because to me, it's just more of a pain to come in and get the stuff whenever I can have it mounted to the wall, and I can just get the stuff as I need it. So I'll be back tomorrow, and we'll finish this video out. All right, guys, back day 2. Gonna start doing this organization in the shop. I bought this little kit. It's just a pack rack, parts rack. I got it off of Amazon. It's nothing special. It's just a bunch of like organizers and whatnot. That way you can kind of do like your burr bits, your grinding pads for your 1/4-inch die grinders. You can do drill bits. I mean, you can do nuts, bolts, anything you want in here. I'm just tired of using the little DeWalt pack rat system. I was using that whenever we were full-time RV. It helped me stay organized and allowed me to pack stuff up real small and know where everything was at when I needed it. But now that I'm back in a shop and I'm no longer living in an RV full-time and traveling, I really don't have a use for the pack rat system unless I do like a mobile job, which then I can just pack it out for whatever I need and then go out and do it. But I'm not really doing a lot of mobile jobs. I don't even take them right now. Maybe later down the road, but not right now. So I figured we would find a place to mount this today in the shop, and I would just kind of get everything organized. That way it's a little more accessible and it's not driving me up the wall using that pack rat system from DeWalt. I don't even know if it's called a pack rat system. It's just a name I came up with. But so you just get a bunch of these little bins. These are your bigger ones. You get some small ones, and then some mid-sized ones. So these are pretty much the same size. Hell, they are the same size. They're just different colors. So you get that, and then it comes with a little mini grid wall. This is almost like something you could get at Harbor Freight. I just didn't want to put it on a cart and have it on the wheels on a ground. Trying to actually optimize as much floor space as I can for new tools that I plan on getting. I did order a hydraulic press. It'll be here, I believe, this coming week. And then I just got to do the press brake attachment for it. So one step at a time. But I got the hydraulic press coming. So yeah, just out here in the shop trying to stay warm today. Looks like you got these little rack systems that'll just kind of screw in and bolt wherever you want them, especially if you have drywall and studs, which I don't have in this shop. It's a metal building and I spray foam, so I don't even have, unless it's a stud for the main support, I don't have a stud. So I should have done like plywood on the walls, but I'm trying to cut costs and get my shop going. That was my main focus. So it looks like that you can line these up. They line up and they kind of go together. and they allow for you to have those bins organized on there however you want them. I think they just kind of pop in, if I'm not mistaken. Not real sure how they work on the grid wall, but okay. So this side has to go up, and there's little cutouts in here like fins, and on the back of these they have like little teeth, and so they lock down onto that surface. So yeah, I think where I'm gonna mount it is right now. I just got these new shelves in the shop from a auction. There's some heavy duty made with like 3/4 square tubing, and so like right now I kind of just keep my levels. I just put a screw in the end, and I keep all my levels right here. Uh, they're close to my welding table and where I do a lot of my fab work, but I'm gonna look and see what it would look like if I put that grid up here and see if it'll at least mount here, and if it will, it's probably where I'm gonna wind up mounting it, and I'll move these somewhere else. So yeah. So just kind of looking, giving it an eyeballs guess. Looks like this system would definitely mount to this shelf system, and I could just almost have both shelves right here, or both sets. Let me see if it's wide enough. Almost, not quite. So they overlap. Uh, what I might do is I think I'm going to go ahead and mount it hard on here, and then I will cut a piece of wood to go in the back. I got some scrap 2x4s, and I'll just kind of block it in. That way, these can be mounted here. This is about the only place I really got to mount anything like that. Trying to think if I got anywhere else I could do that. I wouldn't mind having them over here. I wouldn't mind having them right there above my workbench. I'm wondering if I take some plywood and fab me up a bracket, and not even fab a bracket. I wonder if I can, let me see. I wonder if I were to use these brackets right here, mount them to this shelf. See what I'm saying? Mount a piece of plywood right here, and then I could do my organizers up here, and I wouldn't have to move my levels. I think I'm on to something. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all my levels back here. See, this is a good little area for them. I mean, it's just wasted space at the end of a damn shelving unit. And I use this shelving unit for all my metal and my flat plate for the CNC, all that stuff. They're good heavy duty shelves that allow me to store a lot of stuff. So let's see. I know I've got some scrap plywood. Let me see what I can come up with. Do some cleaning, rearranging. I don't want to take out my weather band radio. I just like having it living in Oklahoma. You never really know what the weather's going to do here. But I may wind up moving that onto my toolbox because I plan on using another little project I got for the day. I've got this piece of OSB left over, and what I'm thinking about doing is making myself like a hutch wall right here on the back of this to kind of give me a little more organization. I should have never gotten rid of it, but I used to have a Matco 4S double bay toolbox. Uh, had a hutch on it and everything. I sold it whenever we went full-time RV. Should have never sold it. It was paid off. I didn't have any more payments on it. and it was like set in the alcove of my garage at my house. I'll put a picture in it. But yeah, I should have never gotten rid of that. So let me see what I can come up with. Let's see here. That would almost work perfectly. I'd put it behind the stars and bars, of course. Man, okay. I think we got something to work with there. I think I'm going to wind up doing that. So, let me do some quick replacing of items, relocating of items in my shop. I'll put my radio over here. All right. So the way I'll do this is I'm going to take two of these brackets, affix them to that piece of plywood, and then we'll put it up here behind the American flag, and I'll fix it to this shelf. It'll work. So let's get going on that. Two of these brackets. I'm just going to basically fix them to this. Just kind of put them right here in the corner, just like that. And they'll get attached to this, and then they'll get attached to the shelf. It just basically give me a wall to attach my shelving to. So I used to use these screws a lot with the RV. They've got a washer made onto the head. Real nice. Just 1 inch long screws. Then we'll do this other end. Put it there on the corner. Nice. All right. Stuff doesn't take long when you're just kind of making it happen. So let's get that there. We're going to put the plywood behind the American flag. I still got some stuff to move on this shelving. All right, now let's see. Okay. Now that can be scooted back to the wall. We'll mount it. We'll screw it into the shelf. We use those same screws that have washers on them. We'll just screw it right into this 2x6 shelf. All right, so there's that. And actually, I've still got space for my radio to go here, so I don't even have to put it over on my toolbox. I can leave it where I had it. So that's a plus. So now, We'll just make sure that we go with the fins up, and we'll mount this grid system just like so. I may even go up to the flag with it. That way it's just not touching the shelf. I believe it came with some mounting screws. It did. Came with some simple drywall screws and a bunch of these little cheap drywall hangers that I'm not going to be using. So I just throw these away. All right. So I'm going to eyeball it on the height. I'm going to grab my level and we're going to level it out. So we'll put it up here. Get the first screw put in. I'm sure that's fine, but me being me, I'm going to put a level on it and just see if I'm even good. So now I got a level on it. We're good. I'm squeezing it to this wall that I just constructed in a matter of minutes. And there we go. So now I get a few more of these screws put in. And we'll be good to go on this wall. And I'll do the next one. All right, simple as that. So now all of my little organization buckets, they'll just kind of clip in wherever I put them, right there. I can label them or do whatever. They've got little labeling slots. I'm not going to do all that, but you can tear off a piece from the screw box and put it on there if you want. That way you know it's in there, but for the most part, I know what I'm going to be putting in there. So yeah. So with like these bigger ones, I've got a lot of these quick attaching 1/4-inch flat discs that I use on my die grinder. And then I've got a lot of cleaning ones. We like the Scotch-Brite. I've just been keeping them in this box. But now that I've got this fancy system, I can organize them. And I can separate all my Scotch-Brites. And get rid of this box. So now they're all in there, which is a lot nicer and more organized. And I just ordered a whole bunch of them from Amazon because I like them. So now I can add all of these because they're all the same grit. I'll just put them all in this little area, and when that one gets full, I'll move it to another one. So now that one's full. So what I'll do is I'll just take this one, and I'm just going to organize them. I think I got 20 of these, or 20 of them for like $12 on Amazon. Yeah, they're not the best. Yeah, they're not professional grade, but that's not what I do on this channel. So now I've got these little extra adapters for my die grinder. So what I'll do is I'll dedicate one of the small ones up on top to die grinder parts. Those will go in there. So, just like so. All right. Got die grinder bits. That'll have to get dedicated to one of them, of course. So we'll just put it in the blue one up on top. Since it's a little too big to lay down, we'll just put it up on top. Lock it in. There you go. I love being organized. That's one thing I am big on. So let me finish getting the rest of these tubs put on here, and then we'll start throwing in all of our screws and stuff like that, just miscellaneous stuff out of these DeWalt systems. But I can tell you what, I enjoy this shop, and anybody that comes over, they enjoy it too, because it's all done by myself, and I just make it the way that I think that it needs to go, and that's all that matters. Because at the end of the day, it's your shop. It doesn't have to be full of the name brand stuff, or Matco or U.S. General or whatever. It can just be a hodgepodge or whatever. It's whatever gets the job done and makes you happy and feel satisfied with what you've done. I just turned 31 this year, and when I was a diesel mechanic, I thought you had to have the best. When I was turning wrenches for a living, I was dead set on Snap-on, Matco. Made fun of people that used crescent wrenches and whatever, stupid shit. I can tell you what, at the end of the day, a crescent wrench is way more handy than a $100 Snap-on wrench that's the wrong size. That's the way I look at it anymore. It was stupidity. So now, like things like these I use these 3/32 bits. I use them a lot whenever I'm making those smudge pots, because I like to pre-drill all of my cutouts where I'm going to be cutting stuff. That way, I'm not burning through my consumables as fast on my plasma cutter. Um, it just kind of helps me out and helps the machine out. So I use these a lot. The ones from Harbor Freight are great. It's like 3 of them for $5. But I found these on Amazon. I think I paid $10 or $11 for 12, almost $1 a piece. But because I use them a lot, I like buying them in bulk. Then we got plasma cutter consumables. I just recently got a new plasma cutter for my CNC, and I went ahead and made my other one the same. That way, all my consumables are the same, and I don't have to stock 2 different, 3 different, 4 different types of consumables. I can just have all the same consumables for all the same stuff. So now I'll get those organized in a bit. They don't belong over here. I've got a thing in my cart that I put those in. And because I don't have room in my toolbox, I just leave my die grinders out right here because I use them a lot. All right. So now, my next thing that I've got, I'm waiting on that press to come in. I've got some files that I got and modified that are grinding. They're for your grinders. You can hang your grinders on your table. I've got one that'll put a magnet on it, and that way when you're using it, it can be up on the table. Uh, for my welding table, I'm going to add that to it. That way I can hang all these grinders on it, and I know where they're at all times. But for now, they're right here on my workspace, but it's okay. So now let's get all these miscellaneous fixtures that I use for different projects around the house and whatnot. And if it's a common use item, it's going to go on this board. That way it's organized. And then I've got another shed that I try to keep all my household stuff, like the kids' outdoor toys, stuff like that. I've got a shed that was built by my wife's grandfather when he built the house, and it matches the house. It's like a log cabin style. I'll be sure to use that as my storage place for that kind of stuff, Christmas tree, whatnot. Yeah. So I'm going to do some fast forwarding. I'm going to get this organized, and I'll be right back. So as you guys can tell, I've gotten a lot of this done, reorganizing. All my screws and stuff are now up here in this area. So I'm going to finish taking all these fittings here, putting them into this one, and this is just going to be a plumbing pack out. I had these from when I was in the RV. They're waterproof twist-on butt connector deals, wire nuts. That's a keychain that I made for my mom whenever I was a little kid. But anyways, yeah, I'm going to finish doing this plumbing one, and then we'll be done with this for the day, for this reorganization of this area. Clears up a lot of space. I had my pack out deals like right here. So now I got more room for metal. So that's always a good plus. Still going to be working on reorganizing all this, but I'd like to try to get it down into that bin. But yeah, so any type of organization, I'm a big fan of. Let me get this finished, and we'll be on our way. So basically, I had all this plumbing stuff. This is all 3/4 or half-inch pecs. I had all this because when we were full-time RV, our first weekend getting set up at Lake Keystone in Oklahoma, I was a camp host there, and we started in January of last year. Like my first day there was it was like 5 days before my son's second birthday, so like January 25th, January 26th. We showed up and got everything hooked up. I hooked up our water. We just got the RV from a dealership maybe a week prior. So it was supposed to be winterized and everything was supposed to be good. Well, the entire water manifold system blew. Like, I mean, every fitting on that system blew. So my first 72 hours of full-time RV living was spent inside my RV while it was freezing cold outside, completely rebuilding that manifold from the ground up. It was a lot of fun. But yeah. Now all I got is these little picture frame screws that I no longer need. I'm not sure on the name of these screws exactly. They're just like 2-inch screws. They take like a T25, but there's like no head on them. They're great for hooks, for tools, because there's no head to go around. So I keep these in the shop because it's real nice to just be able to hang something up. If you know you're going to always use it there, use one of those little screws, boop, there's a hook. And it's cheaper than buying hooks. The box of screws is like $5. So now with all this consolidation, I've got pretty much this entire DeWalt pack out open for whatever I want to use it for. Whether I want to keep it here in the weld shop or if I want to put it in the shed that's for the house. That decision will be made by probably my wife, depending on whether or not she wants it. But if not, I'll keep it for myself. Now I've got this entire pack out empty. It's been a goal of mine since I got this shop built, was to be able to get out of these pack out systems. I mean, they're great. A lot of guys use them in their shop. I'm just not a fan of it because I've got to go find that pack out, pull it off the shelf, make sure that the item that I want in it is in that pack out, open it up, get out what I need, put it back, when I could just have this. You know it's in there, you just come get what you need, and it's there. To me, it's a better idea. For others, it's not. But that's why this is my shop and not theirs. So now I've got a pack out system that can be strictly for plumbing for the house. And then I've got this one that's empty. So these will get moved out into the shed and they will no longer be in my shop. All right. So another little deal that I'm going to do once I get my CNC fully up and going, I use cardboard for those little templates that I showed you guys on the smudge pots. I'm going to cut me out some nice metal ones, hang them on my shelf. That way it's nicer. I might even cut out the 5-inch on this one and cut out the 3, so I know that this one's a 3 and this one's a 5. It's kind of nice that I've got that CNC now. I've been working on a lot of cut files, so eventually we're going to do a lot of signs. We're going to be cutting signs, and I'm going to learn how to paint them and stuff, and take them to craft shows. So I think the next little project I'm going to do for the day is my little hutch wall that I was talking about. I think I'm going to do this little hutch wall on my toolbox top. So this is like my little corner in the shop. I've got my fridge. I've got a fridge. I've got everything that I could possibly need to mark stuff and whatnot. It gets kind of cluttered, so I was thinking about making myself a little hutch top, just a backer wall. I was going to use those other 2 brackets that I wound up using for that for a shelf, so I'll get me 2 more and we'll just put a shelf on it, and I'll be able to hang stuff up, whatever, stay organized. All right, so I got these 2 brackets. I got a nice big magnet for my CNC. That way I can ground out to my parts. But yeah, I'm going to take and we're going to build a little hutch top for this. That'll allow me to organize my stuff a little bit better. I don't remember which way this went on. There it goes. I didn't know if it was a forwards and backwards or a side-by-side slide. All right, so I'll have to take those screws out and remark them. All right. So now I'm going to get that big piece of plywood. And we're just going to essentially slide it into place and give myself a work area extension. All right, so now I'm going to mount this bracket here. I'm going to mount this other one down here. Like so. Slide it back, screw it in, done deal. See how nice that is? I can just go get the screws that I know that I'm going to use. And they're right there where I want them. I don't have to dig in a pack out system for them. Just to me, it's better. Now I got to try to do this on my own. I don't have any help in here. All right, there's that one. And it fell. Nice. That's what I was trying to prevent. But as you can see, it did not work out in my favor. But it's okay. All right. We'll just leave it there for now. And I know a lot of creators will probably edit that out. I'm not perfect, so not everything's going to go the way that I want it to go the first time. And there's nothing wrong with that. If there's one thing I've learned, is it doesn't always go the way you want it to go. So, now that I got that pretty much where I want it, I'm going to put a screw in it in my top. That way it ain't going to slide anywhere. Then we're going to put this other bracket in. Over here. See, I still have my power on my tabletop. Now, here we go. All right. Nice. All right. Go ahead and screw this to the tabletop. That way it doesn't go anywhere on me. All right. So now we're screwed to the tabletop. Obviously, you can tell it's kind of wiggly. So I'm going to put a 2x4 spacer up there in that corner, bridge it against the wall, and then I'm going to secure this to my door jamb and that'll take the wobbles out of it. So let me pre-drill that hole for that one to go into the door jamb. All right. There we go. So now that's all secured. All right, so now to finish this up, I'm just going to remount my power outlet there. This little charging block's actually bad. So I found out last week when I was went to charge my microphone. I got two of them, and they were both dead. So I went to go charge them, and I was using that outlet or that power block. Well, come to find out, that was the culprit. So, needless to say, that one is bad, and I'm no longer going to be using it. So I can still access my holes there. So I'm going to measure those holes. I'm going to measure those holes there, and that'll tell me what I need these for measure or for the hole for this thing to lock in. .13. All right. So now I'm going to transfer this over to here. I'm just going to mark it. So now I got a power here at my hutch, my man-made hutch, and it's good enough for me. So yeah, that's about all we're gonna do for today. I know it's not a whole lot, but I need to get some welding projects going. Once I get some of those going, uh, like I said, I'm gonna do some stuff for this table. So I know I've got some stuff to do on it, but I really want to get it all done at once. So once I get the grinder plates cut out for the mounts, then we'll knock out this welding table, and we'll do some upgrades on it. We'll get that thing looking the way it should. But yeah, so if you guys got any questions or anything, or want to critique anything, or give me some pointers on some stuff, feel free to. But again, I'm not an electrician, so whenever I wired in that panel for my plasma cutter, don't do it at home. Uh, do it at your own risk. Uh, yeah, I'm not going to endorse how I did it or tell you that it was the way that it needed to be done. But I've now got my plasma cutter on its own outlet, and that's all that matters to me. So yeah, that's it for today, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by the channel.